Hello everyone, my name is Alex and I'm here to show you how to change your oil. It is very simple to do yourself and it can be at a fraction of the cost of paying a mechanic to do this. Changing your oil is very important. Can you imagine if you're going somewhere and your car just breaks down and it doesn't work anymore and you're stranded because you didn't change your oil? If you would have just changed your oil, then you would never have the issue of being stranded. I have about 17 years of experience working on vehicles. I've worked on all my vehicles for the whole time I've been driving, and I've worked on many other people's vehicles, and all the maintenance that's ever been done on my vehicles has been done by me. Changing your oil takes about 30 minutes, give or take, and it is a really simple process. It takes about 15 steps and there's about 8 tools and materials that you can use. So what you will need for this is the things I'm about to show you. So you need shop towels, the proper oil and filter, a wrench set, car jack and stands, funnel, and a container to catch the oil. So now that we have everything, we can go ahead and get started in the process of me showing you how to change your oil. Again, this takes about 15 simple steps. First, you want to make sure that the engine is warm and that it gets to operating temperature. And so what you want to do if you haven't driven the vehicle during the day is go ahead and start the car and let it warm up for about 5 to 10 minutes. Make sure that the car is parked on a flat surface. This is very important because you're going to jack the vehicle up and you don't want it to be able to roll. When it's on the flat surface, make sure that the brake is engaged. So first what you want to do is you want to jack up the vehicle high enough so that you can fit underneath it. As you see here, you have the jack and you want to put it under a main part of the frame right there. And then once it's jacked up, you can put a jack stand underneath it because you want to make sure if the jack were to fail, then something would catch it. So first what you want to do is you want to take this cap off, the engine oil cap, and the reason for that is whenever you loosen the nut on the bottom of the vehicle to have the oil come out, you want to have no pressure that's holding it in there, so that'll let it flow freely. So you want to get the container that you have to catch the oil and put it underneath the drain plug to catch the oil whenever you loosen it. So this is the drain plug right here. What you would do is once you have the container underneath it, you're going to remove this nut and you're going to allow the oil to drain. Now when you're removing the nut, make sure that you don't drop it because it might be hot, and if you drop it in the oil it's just going to cause a mess and that's going to be difficult to get out. Now that the oil has been drained, replace the nut and hand tighten it. So now you want to move the oil catching container under the oil filter so that when you remove it, the oil can drain in there. Now that we drain the oil and remove the filter, we can start the process of putting the oil back in. What you want to do is you want to use a wrench to tighten the drain plug, but not too tight because you can strip out the threads. So you'll take and you'll put this back in now that it's been drained and you want to tighten it. So what I have here is an oil filter. What you want to do when you put this back on, you want to get a small amount of oil and you want to put it around the rubber seal. So that way it helps seal it and you won't have issues getting it off in the future. Now you want to spin this on, and once it makes contact with the engine, give it another quarter turn to make sure it's tight enough. But you don't want to tighten it too much because then it won't come off in the future. So to start putting the oil in, you want to have your funnel, put it in the hole that you took the cap off of, and you want to pour the proper amount of oil in there. Now the way to find out how much oil to use is you can check your owner's manual for the type and the amount of oil to use. Make sure you use the right amount of oil. Now after you've put all the oil in there, you want to replace the cap and then check for leaks. Now that you've done that, go ahead and raise the vehicle, remove the jack that you put under there, and lower it slowly. That way you don't cause any damage by it dropping too fast and possibly hurt yourself. So now that you've done all that, you want to remove the dipstick and take a rag and wipe it clean and get the oil off, and then stick it back in there, pull it out, and make sure that the oil is at the proper level. If the oil is at the proper level, put this back in and go ahead and start the vehicle. And get ready to possibly turn it off just in case there's any noises that shouldn't be happening, or if the car is leaking oil or anything. So make sure that there's no leaks or noises. If all is good, go ahead and shut your hood and enjoy the money that you have saved by changing your own oil. Now that we've done all that, let's go over what we talked about today. So what we did was jacked up the vehicle, we drained the oil out of it, then we replaced the nut, and we put a new filter on there and replaced the oil that was in there. So in summary, we used 8 tools, and this took about 15 steps. And these were very simple steps, and I think that all of you can take this information and use it for yourself. Save your money in the future. That way you don't have to worry about paying a mechanic to do it for you. Can you imagine if you were stranded? Now, go back to this again. If you had not changed the oil in your vehicle, you might be broken down, worried somewhere that something bad is going to happen. What if you're in the middle of nowhere? Make sure that you change your oil, so that way in the future you never have to worry about being stranded. If you want to go to https://www.familyhandyman.com/automotive/DIY oil change/DIY car maintenance, how to change your oil yourself /view all to see some information about doing this. Thank you so much. Now view the audience.